Welcome back. I'm back. You're back. Hey, we back. Welcome everyone to this episode on the Ultimate Sports TV, guys. We had the first game of the NFL season take place last night. Cowboys versus Bucs. It was an amazing game when it came down to the wire. It came down to Ryan Succop kicking the game-winning field goal for the Bucs in Tom Brady's magical drive down the field to set that field goal up. But really all throughout the game, it was a shootout. Teams' offenses were going after other teams' offenses. It was the Bucs score, then the Cowboys score. Then the Bucs answer, then the Cowboys answer. Then ultimately it came down to the Bucs winning the game. I think it was a really, really good game for both teams. And for the Cowboys, I think you could see a little moral victory in there. We'll get to the winners and losers of this game. Right before I remind you to subscribe to the Ultimate Sports TV. Like this video for me, share this video and YouTube channel. Then comment down below who you think the biggest winner and the biggest loser of Cowboys versus Bucs on Thursday Night Football. The season opener last night was down in the comment section below, everyone. First, let's get to the winners of Cowboys versus Bucs, then we'll get to the losers. My three winners for the Cowboys versus Bucs is 1, Dak Prescott, 2, Antonio Brown, and 3, the Cowboys' really season aspirations and optimism. Now, when we look at Dak Prescott as being one of the winners of this game, now look, they lost this game because their defense could not stop the greatest player of all time on the last drive. But right before that, Dak Prescott marched his team down the field, and that was really the whole story, the whole game. The defense made some plays, but when they didn't, the Cowboys' offense, mainly because of Dak Prescott, came down the field and was able to score points at will at some point in this game, mainly because Sean Murphy Bunting did go out of the game and they took advantage of that matchup. But really, when you look at Dak this game, there were 3 things I thought he did well with coming off of an injury. That was his pocket awareness, his decision making, and his accuracy. Although he didn't have the best rip on the ball last night, maybe because of his shoulder injury, I did like the accuracy that Dak had last night to go along with his decision making and pocket awareness. Whenever he needed to run, he ran, not even worrying about his ankle. Whenever he didn't need to throw, he didn't throw when pressure was getting to him. It just didn't look like that pressure phased Dak Prescott last night. If he needed to run, he ran. If he needed to throw, he threw. And whatever he needed to do, he did it successfully without creating any turnovers. And when you have a guy that is coming off of a horrendous ankle injury that Dak Prescott did, I think it's amazing when you had the pocket awareness that he did and you had the decision making that Dak Prescott did last night. It only tells me with over 400 yards, I think 3 touchdowns, passing really 60 times, I think Dak Prescott, even coming off of that ankle injury, is going to be comeback player of the year and is going to be the best player on that Cowboys team once again, but could also really, really carry this offense this year with Ceedee, Amari, Cooper, Michael Gallup, and Ezekiel, Elliot, and company. So coming off the injury, there were 3 things I think Dak did great on, and I think that's great looking up for him. Knowing his shoulder wasn't the best, but he's also coming off an ankle injury, I think he showed really, really good smarts and made some really, really good plays in that game. And he showed that he is worth that contract, and that's also one of the biggest things I think Dak won this game about morally. He's proving that he was worth that huge contract. You go out in the season opener versus one of the best defenses in the NFL, and you throw for 400 yards, and you make good decisions. You have pocket awareness, although you're coming off of a severe injury. Dak Prescott this year is going to continue to prove that he was worth that huge contract that he got this offseason. Antonio Brown was also a winner of this game. I think things are looking up for him too. I think he's going to be a 1,000-yard receiver this season. I don't think it's going to be a 1,500, 1,300-yard season, but I do think we could see a 1,200-yard, 1,100-yard, 1,000-yard season for Antonio Brown. He's not going to put up outrageous stats because of who else he has in his receiving core and how much that ball has to be spread around. But Antonio Brown is back, and if it wasn't for him being suspended, he would have never left. Now look, he got time off when he was not on the team, and I think rest for a guy that takes so many snaps and is so relied upon as a wide receiver, I think rest was good for him, and I think that's coming back to really help him. Look, this guy is over 30 years old. If I'm not mistaken, he's either 31 or 32 years old. Antonio Brown, I don't think he'll lose a step this year. Him and Tom Brady have the chemistry, and I think all the skills that we saw about Antonio Antonio Brown before he stepped out of the league for a minute. They're still there, and with the chemistry and him not even being the bona fide number one on his team in terms of the way defenses look at it currently because they've forgotten about Antonio Brown, that also works out really well for him. Because are you going to double team Mike Evans, who we've seen for a while now and consistently, or are you going to double team Antonio Brown when you have Mike Evans on the other side of the field who's kept playing while Antonio Brown has sat out for a while? People have forgotten about Antonio Brown, and that is really going to help him see more catches on the field, have better stats, and really help this Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense. So I think Antonio Brown is a winner, and I think the Cowboys, although they didn't win the game, I think morally they showed something to themselves. They can play and hang with the best teams in the league. Zeke didn't have the best game of his career. He didn't have a good game, but the defense did make plays against one of the best offenses in the NFL, and the offense of the Cowboys was able to get into a shootout with the Dak, who was coming off an injury. Dak Prescott was able to lead this passing game, and it shows you that once again this year, this Cowboys offense will be able to duel with all those other great passing attacks and get into shootouts if needed. And hey, Zeke didn't even run a lot. You still have Zeke, although he didn't have the best night. Take it with a grain of salt. He didn't really run the ball a lot, but that defense was also able to make plays. And I see the Cowboys, like I did before, still making the playoffs, but I have even more optimism for this team, knowing what Dak was able to do last night, knowing that defense was now disciplined enough by the new defensive coordinator and Dan Quinn, and made enough plays last night to really hang in that game there and not let it slip away. You have to really applaud the Cowboys defense of their improvement even in the first game with a new defensive coordinator. Now look, they did some things wrong, but look, you do also have to applaud them for what they did right. So I think things are turning up for the Cowboys. They're better coached on defense. They have all their playmakers on offense, and they're able to make plays on defense. So I think things are looking up on the defensive and offensive side of the ball for the Cowboys. And I think their playoff aspirations grew after that game if you're able to hang with the defending Super Bowl champs. All right, everyone, now let's get to the losers of the Thursday Night Football opener versus the Cowboys and the Buccaneers. Now, one, it's got to be Ezekiel Elliott. Not just because he didn't have a great night playmaking, but he didn't get the volume of touches that a number one running back, a bona fide number one running back in the NFL would get. My question is not only are the Cowboys more invested in this passing game, because they are, but do they value Zeke as much as they should anymore, knowing who we think Ezekiel Elliott should be? Do they value Ezekiel Elliott right now when they paid him all of that money? Because right now, even when Ezekiel Elliott did get the touches that he didn't look like he deserved the money. He didn't look like he was a top 10 running back. Now look, he got just over 10 rushes, and that's mainly because Dak Prescott threw 60 times. But when you look at that, you have Dak Prescott, and when you look at Zeke, he's a loser of this game because the Cowboys offense and their play callers look like they trust that pass game more right now than a guy in Ezekiel Elliott who's getting paid loads of money right now. This is a big time concern not only for the Cowboys, but Ezekiel Elliott's role really for himself. Is he going to get those touches anymore because this passing game is so good? And if this passing game is so good and teams aren't stacking the box against you, Ezekiel Elliott should be that much better. On the rushes he got last night, he should have gotten way more yards. But the concern about Zeke right now is his consistency, and can he play better in space and get the yards for you when you need them. And last night versus one of the best defenses in the NFL, Ezekiel Elliott did not show that when his passing offense was on fire last night, and that Tampa Bay Bucs run defense wasn't even thinking about Ezekiel Elliott. But when he did run the ball, he wasn't able to do anything. One of the plays I really look back to for Ezekiel Elliott is when Dak kind of swiveled it out to him on the side when they were near the goal line. Now, take it with a grain of salt. There was a bad block by the tight end near the goal line on this play, but Ezekiel Elliott was in space. And usually, the Ezekiel Elliott of old, you would have thought Zeke would have scored this touchdown right here. We would have thought that coming from the side, almost getting into the end zone, in the red zone from about the 4 or 3 yard line, Ezekiel Elliott would have broken some tackles, been elusive and gotten in the touchdown, but he wasn't able to do that. My concern with Ezekiel Elliott right now is, can he be a playmaker consistently, and can he show up for the Cowboys even when they don't necessarily need him? Because if you can't do that, then how are you going to show up when the Cowboys need you? So Ezekiel Elliott, he's a big time loser in this game for the Cowboys. Now look, the other loser in this is on the other side of the yard for the Bucs. It's their secondary. They lost Sean Murphy-Bunting in this game to a dislocated elbow, and he's going to be out for a while. The Cowboys reveal a weakness about the Buccaneers. When they don't have Sean Murphy-Bunting, things can go wrong for the Bucs, and cornerback depth and safety depth for the Bucs is not the best thing on their team right now. So when you play wide receivers like Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, Calvin Ridley, when you're going to eventually play Michael Thomas, DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, Stephon Diggs in the season, when you play these type of wide receivers, you need your corners to be healthy because you don't have all the depth in the world. So when you allow these big passing attacks to really go down the field on you, when you don't have the best of health in the secondary, especially with such an important player like Sean Murphy-Bunting, I think it's a real weakness right here for the Bucs in their secondary. And as you lose one player, it really showed you how valuable those two corners in Carlton Davis and Sean Murphy-Bunting are. And now that Sean Murphy-Bunting is going to be out for a few weeks, loser of this game is really the Bucs secondary, because they're definitely going to miss them versus really good passing attacks, especially like the Cowboys. People, maybe the biggest loser of this game was Donovan Wilson. Look, there was a play in this game, I'm showing it right now. Donovan Wilson ran all the way from the backfield after a play to go basically hit stick and try and push Tom Brady to the ground. And Tom Brady didn't even flinch one bit. Donovan Smith's little hit did not work at all. Tom Brady stays ready, and he really made Donovan Wilson right here look really stupid and really embarrassed him on this play. Tom Brady stays ready, and Donovan Wilson was really not ready for Tom Brady to just stay up like that. He really got embarrassed on this play, and he's definitely, from this play, the biggest loser of the Bucs versus Cowboys game. Shout out to Donovan Wilson, everyone. But also, this has been the biggest winners and losers of the Cowboys versus Bucs game, everyone. Other than that, this is Malik Hicks, aka the Ranker of the Ultimate Sports TV, signing off. Peace out, and I'll see you on the other side.